All right, I think that's me. Well, hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday night. Welcome to Tuesday Night Principal Cairo broadcast from DE and Band of Brothers. We are excited to have you here. We're excited to have our guests tonight. We're excited to get ready for um, DE, our next DE. That's probably coming up there. Oh, we're going to tell about, yeah, April 13th, 16th, Sarasota. And that'll be our last Sarasota, possibly ever. We don't know, but we're moving to Clearwater. So we'll go April in Sarasota, August or July, end of July in Atlanta, then October in Atlanta, and then there it is, and then January will be Clearwater, and actually next April will be Clearwater, which is going to be awesome. We're excited about that. Also restarted the morning texts. We had an issue with who was sending them out as far as like a service provider, so we've got that worked out, and now you can text one word, DE text, DETEXT to 833-313-1209. It's on the screen right there. So if you want to get the morning just quotes, just sign up for that. There we had like Katrina restarted it, and we had like 50 people that they uh, join on to do that on top of all the people that are there already. So, and then if you're in Georgia, February 25th, GCC and DE Club is putting on a philosophy night at Life. Oh, there it is. Looks so good. Thank you, Kat. Life University, CCE 127. It's going to be me, Oasis, Paul Adams, and my daughter, Bree. Woohoo! So they asked her to do it. And so that's exciting. So if anybody's around, please do that. And then next week is Valentine's Day. So we're not gonna have anybody. We're gonna let everybody do their thing for Valentine's Day. That'll be February 14th. So we thought tonight, what a great person to have on, somebody who is such a great lover of people, a lover of his family, a lover of chiropractic, a lover of the GCC, just a lover overall. An old friend of ours who we don't see as much, but he's still the same old person, same old great guy, Dr. Rene Acosta. So up in Dawsonville. So I'm gonna turn it over. Rene, thank you so much for doing this for us. I know how much we love you, and go ahead and take it away.
Wow, I can't get over these DE graphics, intros and transitions and stuff. That's pretty cool. Hope everybody can hear me okay. Hope everybody's having a good night. Um, Lieberman sent me a text this morning asking me if I could do the talk tonight, and I know that the talk is late, and I'm usually asleep by now, and but I couldn't say no. I actually really can't. I don't say no to Brian Lieberman. I probably shouldn't say that out loud in public, but I usually just if he asks me to do something, I usually do it. Um, and part of that is also, I was taught actually, a long time ago, in the service realm, when you're asked to do something, you just do it. Just do it, and whether you want to do it or not. Um, and so I just couldn't say no, and I can't say no to Lieberman anyway. So I'm extremely honored that he had texted me and asked me to do this, and and I'm actually extremely nervous. I mean, I'm probably more nervous. I've done so much less talk. I used to do so much. I used to do a lot of public talks for different things, including chiropractic, but some other things also. So I used to have a lot of. I think I used to like to talk a lot actually, and kind of attention seeking or whatever, and just get up and stuff like that. And but through the years, I've really kind of learned to be a little more quiet and just kind of listen more and talk less. And actually, I've really applied that in practice a lot. And I guess I could talk a little bit about that. But the point is, I have no idea, what I was going to talk about tonight, and I know that it'll just get dropped in what I'm supposed to say. Um, but for those who don't know me, I mean, I've been a chiropractor for a while. I think I'm coming on 18 years. February 14th is when I was licensed in the state of Georgia in 2005. I think that's 18 years coming up. And I'm enjoying practice. probably at least as much as I did, my first couple years. I'm super. I like it for different reasons. I'm a little bit connected to it differently in some different ways. Um, but I guess just to kind of tie in the whole thing that I was getting at about like talking and stuff like that is, there's a lot of talking. There's so much talking going on. Everybody's talking, and one of the things um, that like I guess it's just kind of applied in my personal life and also in practice. But one of my favorite quotes that I really hold on to dearly in practice, and I see it a lot with young docs, and I'll talk about that in a moment also. But there's that. My favorite quote is, you can, if you want to get people to like you, you can talk a lot, and if you want people to get people to love you, then just don't talk so much. Don't get them to love you. Don't talk. And I think that applies so well in chiropractic. And I think that one of the things that and I guess there's some overlap and just some different ideas, but through the years in DE, some of my favorite speakers ended up, I always love the fire and the passion, and believe me, I can get fired up and get really intense, and I really am kind of all the time anyway. I'm also just trying to kind of maybe contain it a little bit. Um, uh, but some of my favorite speakers at DE were there were some of the quieter, people that didn't talk so much, but I knew had huge practices, so I guess that was the thing, is that when I was the loudest, and whether it's on Facebook debating or talking on a stage, I don't think that my practice really reflected, all of that at that time necessarily. So I've really learned through the years to just kind of settle down, be quiet. And the funny thing about that is that I remember one of the things that I did to really try to build my practice up, to get some numbers going, was to do fake visits, mock visits. And whenever I talk to young chiropractors, I always say, do fake visits, do mock consultations, record yourself, video yourself, audio record yourself, that sort of thing. But I remember when I first did it, and I wanted to say, okay, I said, I was already at that time, you know, I was seeing 30 or 35 visits a day or whatever. And I said, okay, well, I want to see 100 a day. So I would do my 30, 35 visits, and then I would, add 70 fake visits. And one of the most humiliating or humbling experiences that I ever had was that I couldn't even do 70 fake visits. It was mind blowing to me at the time. It's like, so I challenge anybody who's maybe only doing about, if you're not happy with the visits that you're seeing and you want to see more, do some fake visits and see if you're capable of doing it. But one of the things that I learned is, like, if you're talking a lot, it's really hard to see people if you're doing a lot of talking. Um, and so I don't do that much talking. As a matter of fact, on most of my visits, on most of the visits when I see a patient, I usually, they'll usually ask me how I'm doing, and I say that I'm awesome or near perfect. I never ask them how they're doing. I do say that I'm happy to see them, and I learned these things at DE. But I just say I'm near perfect. I literally say that every day, all day long, 100 times a day. I say near perfect. I'm happy to see you. Um, and then and I just like look at. I've already trained them to go down on a table, so most of them are going down on a table. If not, I just give a little handout. Show them where the table is, face down on the paper, palpate, make my adjustment. I give them a hand up off the table. Thanks for coming in. I'll see you next week. And that's literally now that's what I say for most visits. I'm in a pretty cool situation. As a lot of my friends know, maybe a lot of folks that don't know me don't know, but about 3.5 years ago, I took over as a clinic director at a Joint Chiropractic in Dawsonville. Um, and it's really cool. I mean, it was I went into that clinic. It had the least visits, least revenue in the state of Georgia of all the Joint clinics, and now it's probably in the top third. But it's probably doing about, we were doing about 12 visits a day when I started there, and now we're doing about 1,600 a week. And And so one of the things that happens is we have a lot of clinics. We have about 11 clinics in our network. So when we hire new doctors, they send them to my clinic to train with me for a couple of days. And so one of there's so much I could say about that, but they're really the kids coming out of school are just absolutely blown away at how little I'm saying and how people are just coming in, going face down on a table, getting adjusted, leaving out. Um, yeah, and that's what I kind of you can kind of see right away that a lot of the problem when these young docs are coming out is that they're just incredibly insecure, very confused about what their job is, and so they make up for it in the talking, right? The talking and the people pleasing, um, you know, the sort of like, how's that? How's that shoulder now? Is that better? Well, let's try this. If that don't work, then let's do that. And and I so I get to see that all the talking, but of course, all the talking doesn't translate to visits. It doesn't translate to what I think is what chiropractic basically is, which is let the adjustment do the talking. That's another thing that what I try to do is so a lot of this is predicated on the ability for what the old timers called delivering the goods, which there are a couple of times that as a chiropractor I get to deliver the goods, and one is during an exam, when I find subluxations, and I let them know that I have found subluxations, and again without having to verbalize it, because when I find it, they know that I have found it. And the other is when you deliver the adjustment. So you know, and then unfortunately, a lot of the students that are coming out of the schools that are getting sent up into my office, they're just not being. I think, and I might be really wrong on this, but either way, the number was crazy. But I think like during COVID, for example, they had to do 20 visits, I think a quarter, maybe, to pass in the clinic. It was just some ridiculous number like that, just very low number. So, so while I guess that while I'm talking about it, I think one thing that all of us should be kind of passionate about is just trying to help out some of these kids coming out of school. When I say kids, I mean I'm talking kids. I mean, like, I had a girl in my office yesterday who just got out. She just got her license, and she's 23 years old. I mean, she's a kid to me. I mean, it's like, of course, but you know, um, we're working with them, and trying to help them out because yeah, there's just when they get out of school, they're just don't know how to talk to patients. They don't know what their job is, and they don't know how to express what it is that they do. Um, clearly in a way that is easy to understand, and and they think that they it's just mind blowing to them for them to think that people will come in, get adjusted, and walk out, and that's good enough, or that you only adjust. Um, but anyway, but anyway, um, so I've been enjoying talking less, and I guess I can answer questions, and I like to ask questions. A lot of times when I get these young docs, I love to ask them. I say, "Tell me what chiropractic is. What do you think your job is?" And because I love to start there, because so many um, so many of the procedures um, are integrated into the philosophy of chiropractic. In other words, um, if you the more I know, to me, what a chiropractor does, the philosophy of chiropractic, the principles of chiropractic, the easier the easier it is to do the job. um, so I like to ask questions, and kind of go from there to see where people are at. And the whole adjusting thing, I had another young kid up in the office, he just licensed right out of Life University. Such a good kid. I mean, like, the kind of kid that it's like, if my kids turned out like him, I would be blessed. And and I said, all right, go ahead and give me your adjustment. Go ahead and check me. And and it was just it wasn't there, you know, and my heart broke. I was heartbroken. It was terrible. And but you know, I'm gonna work with him and try to get his adjusting up and going. But anyway, so I guess yeah, I just I've been talking less, and I think what's funny, I was telling Kat before the talk that I got asked to speak today three different times on the same day, and I mean that really hasn't happened in a long time. Um, so I don't really know what that means, but Kat thinks that that means that I should get out there a little bit more. But you know, I just um, again, I just like you know, I'm talking about, you know, like seeing the when you talk about like the Peruvian prince, listening to him give a talk, and he's just like so quiet. And I mean, I stood in that guy's office and watched him do 110 visits by 11 o'clock in the morning, and you know, it just taught me a lot. Like to just it's just kind of what I do is just try to like just you know, be quiet and make connections. And I do all the DE stuff. I do all the DE stuff when a patient walks in. I lather love lavishly, you know, and I walk in. Hey doc, how you doing? Near perfect. I'm really happy to see you. Oh, I'm happy to see you too. And I just kind of, you know, and then at the table, and I just get into my thing, and you know, the adjustments is so funny because pretty sure that I only take about 30 seconds, but you know, but I slow the adjusting down, the adjustments. I slow down, put my hands on people, really connect. Um, you know, with my hands, it's funny because I think O'Halloran sent me a little text up here a minute ago, and I was thinking about one day he said that he did a talk, and he said I love mixing. You know, he gets on his patients and rubs their shoulders out. So you know, it's like yeah, you know, I just let my hands do the talking. I don't like the yap so much, you know. And what happens is even when you know if I have a patient like you know um, maybe one that hasn't been in a while, and they like to you know tell you what all their problems are, doc, you know this and that and this and that, and you know, and I look at them and I look at them and I say, oh, okay, and then I say, all right, you know, I'll either say okay, and then they go face down, or if they're still kind of going on, I look at them, okay, do you want me to adjust you? I don't do an OPQRST or ask a bunch of questions about all that. And the tricky part about that is that you know um, it's not bad bedside manner when you deliver the goods, you know, and because that's kind of like what happens when they go face down, and you know you get connected, and you know just find it, fix it, leave it alone, accept where you find it. Um, and you know, and so many times, I mean, like you just give that adjustment, they breathe, they smile, their body relaxes. Um, Thanks, doc. That's exactly what I needed. You know, so you know, it's just you know, we have you know what they need and what they want, um, and you know, it's not a lot of talking that you know sells it. um, when I take on a new patient, I let them do a lot of talking. The first day is their chance to kind of tell me all their problems, and I do a lot of listening, and then I just explain, you know, very simply how you know, subluxations, um, you know, cause a lot of damage, and that it's a process. It cannot be. It's not a one and done like vaccines. I love throwing. I just say that shit lately. Just that kind of just makes me laugh, you know. So I just like say, hey, well, you know, um, the thing is that we got to retrain these joints. It's like putting braces on your teeth. You know, it's not like a one-time thing like the vaccine. Just cracks me up. Just the little things that I do to make me you know, smile. Like one of my favorite things to do is like I'll ask a patient who obviously doesn't exercise if they exercise, and I say it with a straight face. You got to have fun. You know, that's my way of having fun nowadays when I'm 52 years old is how to, you know, ask funny questions of patients during consultations with a straight face, like I'm completely serious, you know? And so it's just kind of that's kind of how I have fun nowadays. Um, you know, one of the things I was telling Katrina before was that you know, so I'm at this joint clinic, and we're always in the since I've been there, we're always in the top 10 um, in the country at like 830 something clinics. I think now you know, my clinic is always in the top 10 for conversions, high conversion percentages. So in other words, people who come in and who get on a plan of care. Um, And actually, we've also several times been the actual number one clinic in the entire country. And that really shouldn't be like that big of a deal, you but it's actually kind of like at the heart of the problem. um, I guess I get to see that just a lot of people are unable to convert patients to chiropractic care. So um, and that's the heart of the trouble, because if you're starting a patients and you're having a busy practice, you know there's really no time for anything else. I'm so honored that all my work time is in adjusting patients, and I don't have to do anything else. I don't have time to do anything else. And I mean, I'm honored by that. And that's one of the things that when I get to talk to these young students, young DCs that just come out of school, and it's an honor for me to be able to say that, hey, I've paid for homes and own cars and land, and you know um, vacations and all the things that we get to do, and only doing adjustments. Um, um, I'm honored by that, and a lot of that is that. And one of the things that is really um, kind of cool, I guess. And one of the reasons, obviously, why I got on this call and to do this call is because it's good to, like, like, I don't really have a lot of friends. I mean, I might have before chiropractic, I have a handful of really, I mean, people that I call friends. And but in chiropractic, my friends are you guys. My DE. I this my side of the profession. And so it is good to connect. So it's, in other words, when I'm explaining, or I'm trying to um all of us little DE, we're like little magnets, or we're all on a mission trip. In my mission field, I get a lot of these new docs that are getting out looking for a job. They go to the joint. They've never been to DE. They never heard of Dr. Sid. I pull out Dr. Sid videos. I pull out Dr. Sid audios, play them for them. I say, like I said, I ask them questions. What do you think chiropractic is? Do you know who Dr. Sid is? You know, um, no, no. And then they just start, so we're all kind of like, I feel like I'm in the mission field, spreading the word, the gospel, um, and which is like what we all have in common and what we're all bound by, because none of us need to explain that to each other, what chiropractic is. um, the idea of connecting with suffering people. I think that's another thing that is really changed for me tremendously, is which really makes a lot of sense now, just kind of looking back in my career. But I love my patients. I mean, um, I value them, um, and I love them. And very much so. And one of the other things is that I really, over the last few years, have really come to understand that these people are, especially when they're new, the new ones, are suffering. um they, whether it's chiropractically or just different things. So I remember I came in on a Monday, and I had a new patient, and who was in so much pain. Okay, I mean, she was just like in so much pain that it was kind of like, it was a little bit of a, it was kind of like one of those, like, this woman has a herniated disc. It was kind of one of those, and it's super symptomatic. and and I remember putting my hand on her shoulder, and I said, has anything, you know has anything really, like, been going on in your life, that you're in a lot of pain. And she looked at me and just started bawling, crying, and she said, "I just found out my daughter has cancer." And and I love, one of my favorite things is, because I'm starting to see it. So I'll tell the front desk girls, I'll say, "Hey, listen, these people are suffering, and that's why they're being mean. If they're like, if they're not acting right, just kind of advocate for them. they haven't sent their best representative in, because they're suffering, so we need to advocate for them. We're when I get a patient that's kind of, being difficult, now, I mean, back in the day, I would have just thrown them out of the office. Now, I realize that they have the person that wants help is in there behind the asshole that is there now, their representative. and and I love showing that to the front desk, over and over and over again. People that come in, we had a guy come in who was extremely pissed off. I mean, it was one of those things that was so bad that I ran up to the front desk because I thought I was going to have to just, seriously, he was getting very aggressive, with the front desk girl. And I ended up kind of talking him down and chilling him out and that sort of thing. I brought him back and I started adjusting him. And as I put his hand over, to do a side posture, and he had two wedding rings on his fingers. And I just made like a little comment, like, you got married twice, or you have two wives. And he looked at me and he said, "Well, one of them's my dad's. He just died last week." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, there it is." And then the front desk, got to see that. Um, and there's just another one of those things. Oh yeah, these people are suffering, and countless of times where they come in, they're a little bit in a bad mood, they don't want to do paperwork, and then after they're adjusted, they're smiling, and they're a lot more compliant. and and I love that. I mean, I live for that. And so that's my thing, is that, so I think what's important for us, and I think that's what the DE, I guess, which just kind of just came around to me, is like what it represents is, us being able to get to be with each other, even in spirit, because a lot of times it's just in spirit, but for me, but obviously getting the DE and being around each other and not having to explain, and understanding each other and taking care of ourselves, because that's the thing. Like I would work 7 days a week if I could, if I was spiritual enough to do it, I would do it, but I can't. Instead, what happens is Monday through Thursdays, I'm just pouring it out. That's my work week. I mean, I'm just literally completely laser focused. Even my wife, she has learned through the years to, you know, I don't try to fix something on a work night. We don't do nothing Monday through Thursdays. We don't do nothing. I mean, it's like, I go all day. I come home. I eat a good meal. I give my wife a foot massage every single night. Then she goes to bed, and then I go to bed, and then I get up the next day and I do it again. And then, like, Monday through Thursdays, I'm just pouring out, pouring out, pouring out, pouring out, pouring out. And then, but that's part of the thing, is that when those weekends roll around, I make sure to take care of myself, because I'm not Gandhi, and I'm just not that spiritual. So I got to make sure that I take care of myself. And and that's kind of like when you got to know when you're getting tired enough to take a more time off in a couple of days, that sort of thing. So, like, I'm taking a week off in a couple of months, just for that, because I kind of know that that's that time where I'm just going to need to, so that's very, I guess, DE represents for me, just like part, learning how to take care of ourselves, because, you can't be lacking, in the office. People deserve our best when we're in the office. They deserve our best, laser focus on subluxation, um, also in listening, and listening with not just our ears, but with our eyes and with our hands and with our hearts. I teach these kids about, like, how when don't force, because students are just like, make it go, make it go, make it go," and it's like, no, no. I mean, like, don't force nothing. Put your hands on people and listen. Do they like you? Are they relaxed? Are they winded? Do they need to take a few breaths? Are they scared? All that. You can get all that by putting your hands, um, on the patient and listening, and yeah, enforcing nothing. Just giving them what they need at that time. And that's the thing is like students, they think you got to adjust somebody and fix them in the first visit. And that's I try to teach them. It's like, no, that's not what we're doing. We're starting a process with them, you know? And that's part of understanding who we are. Chiropractic is not like I said, like I joke about, it's not a vaccine, it's not a one and done, it's not a shot. It's a process of retraining chronic vertebral subluxations. And you don't have to make bones move. Um, you don't have to force things. And you sure as hell, don't have to ask them how, I mean, you can ask them if there was that, did that get it? Did that get it? How about this? How about that? That's just that has nothing to do with chiropractic, or the process. So anyway, I hope that y'all got something out of that. Um, I had a great time tonight speaking with you. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing some of you in person very soon. And what else could I say? I guess, um, yeah, I love you. I love that you love what I love. Um, I'm having a great time being a chiropractor. I hope you are too. If you're not, please, reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to anyone. Um, and if there's anything that I can do for anybody, you just let me know, okay? And I appreciate your time, and go ahead and get yourself some good sleep tonight, okay? Love you.
There he is. Hey, man, thanks so much, brother.
Love you, brother.
We love you too, man. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you staying up late. I appreciate you being you, and I hope you have a great week. Keep kicking
You're a good
ass,
man.
and
You're a
hope
good man.
everybody has a great Valentine's Day. My wife said I sang Valentine's, but and I probably was. But Valentine's Day, and
Yeah.
we'll see you in a couple of weeks if we don't see you sooner, and then hopefully we'll see
25th, right?
yeah, 25th and at Life
25th. Yeah.
University. But love to all. Have a great one, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Love you.
All right, love you too, bud.